This week on Business Mike, we look back at the top 5 business lessons that I've learned from the previous guests on the show.
You're listening to the Business Mike podcast, amazing interviews with inspiring entrepreneurs. For more amazing interviews, go to www.businessmike.com or download our podcast every Monday from Pod Africa.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Business Mike. My name is Daudi Mugabi, and in today's show, I wanted to share with you the top 5 lessons that have been passed on to us by the previous guests on the show. Now, these aren't in any particular order, and I did feel that all of these lessons would have some value to entrepreneurs out there. Lesson 1 is working on your business and not particularly in your business. Now, what this means is that many times we spend our efforts doing the day-to-day bits in our business and we forget to look at the strategic part and vision of our businesses. Tanya Reid, a previous guest of mine, gave some more clarity on this and why it's important to put emphasis on your business and not necessarily in your business.
It is very important, and for some business owners, that's not their strength. For most business owners, selling is their strength, building relationships with clients. So what I've done is, my husband is an engineer, he's also an entrepreneur, and he's very, very strategically minded. So what I can't get to, I make sure that I have a mentor, someone that I can speak to that's already been through what I've been through and that can give me their insight. I also speak to other entrepreneurs because there's a whole lot of networking groups that you can become a part of. And it's just about speaking to people that is currently doing what you're doing or has done it for a while. And what that shows you, it's exactly what you're saying, Dodi. You work in your business and you forget to work on your business. And you actually have to set time apart. So I make sure that every week I have a meeting with my husband. I tell him where we are, what we're doing, and he will put a strategy in place. I have a mentor that I meet once a month that gives me strategic and financial advice because that's not my strength. And then I've got mentors where I've just been connecting with other entrepreneurs in completely different industries, but still facing the same challenges that I do. And I learn from them.
Lesson 2 is validating your business idea before you launch. Many times we do have brilliant ideas and we assume that the market is going to readily take on our ideas before we have actually proven the concept. Tanya Reid and Jules Quinn provide some more insight as to why validating your business idea before going into production might be of great benefit.
If you've got a business idea, verify your assumptions. For instance, the business concierge, I verified whether people would appreciate having a one-stop solution. There's no point in implementing the business concierge if the market is saying, but we actually don't need the service. So verify assumptions before you start your business because you're really going to save yourself time and money and effort. And when you ask your family, because the first people that you go to is your family, when you ask them for advice, is this a good idea? Do you think this business is going to work? Please also tell them to be honest because your family also is trying to be nice. Oh no, it's fantastic. It's perfect. But they're not giving you the actual truth because they don't want to hurt your feelings. So ask your family to be honest and take their advice.
So from your experience, what's the best place to find out, to get constructive feedback on whether your idea is valid or not?
I think the best place to get really good feedback is actually to start selling your product, but on a very small scale and perhaps with prototypes, and test the market and get people to actually pay for the product and then see whether people will part with their cash for your product. And maybe you'll need to change the packaging a little bit. And you could, if you're product based, you could start that through doing markets or selling at school fairs if that's the right market for you. And just trying little bits before you start investing money, and just seeing whether people actually part with cash.
Lesson 3 is finding a mentor for your business to guide you on your business journey. When we do start out with an entrepreneurial venture, we need guidance from people that have already experienced and learned from the mistakes that we're likely to make. Mentors help guide us and avoid particular mistakes that might affect our business negatively. Agaba Tumusime and Liz Simpson clarify on why mentorship is very important and how it has helped them build their businesses.
I think for a person who wants to be a high achiever in life, having a mentor is an absolute necessity, because there are going to be several instances that you will face circumstances that you just are not familiar with, and you do not know what to do. You don't have the answer. You can't figure it out. And who better to ask for advice than a person who's walked that path before you? And that mentor may not necessarily be somebody who's in the specific field or industry that you want to work in, but somebody who has demonstrated that through their own hard work and achievement, that they have a story that they can share with you, some insights that they can share with you.
And how would you approach a mentor? I'm sure there are people listening now who are saying, okay, how do I approach these guys? What do I tell them? How do I make this happen?
Well, first and foremost, I think one should not be afraid to ask. It's as simple as asking. If you are afraid to ask, you never know whether it will be a yes or no. If you don't ask, the answer is automatically always going to be a no. If you want somebody to be your mentor, express genuine desire to learn from them. There's nothing more flattering than somebody approaching you and saying, Dowdy, listen here, I really admire the work that you've done and the success that you've achieved in your career. Would you possibly be willing to spend some time with me so that I could share my thoughts and you can give me some feedback, some input? Being a mentor isn't necessarily drawing a roadmap for someone. It's just being that sounding board and being that wise advisor that they will need in times of indecision, or when a huge opportunity comes and they need somebody to help them calm down and not step too far, too fast. Those are the types of things that a mentor can really add to your life.
I really had to immerse myself in the world of entrepreneurship. I was looking at the past year. In the past year, I've read over 80 books. I've had 12 coaches and 2 mentors, and I've gone on 8 retreats and conferences. So when we talk about psychologically, it's truly a mental game. You have to commit to renewing your mind and shifting your mindset. So for me, all of my coaches were $1 million coaches who are millionaires, whether it's speaking or retreats or coaches. And it created a new normal in my mind. So I really immersed myself in the world. And now it's really, like, for me now, working a 9-to-5 is just so unnatural to me because I completely shifted my mindset. So that's one of the big things I would say is, if you're interested in it, start reading about it, start finding people who are successful entrepreneurs who you can listen to, learn from, go to events where there's entrepreneurs. Definitely continue to listen to podcasts like this, where interviews are being done with entrepreneurs, so that it creates a new reality in your mind.
Lesson 4 is having a proof of concept before approaching investors. This ties into the second point of validating your business idea before launching. Investors, as explained by Dr. Hanet Bokrazion, are more interested in putting their money into businesses whereby the idea has been implemented and had a certain degree of success. This is much preferred to having a brilliant concept on paper without any implementation.
The first thing that will come to their minds is, how will I raise capital? I don't have money. So how do I get funding for this? And this is something I see especially among the many that want to get started in Africa. And obviously, well understood, it's difficult to get something started when you have a lack of capital, and access to finance is very, very difficult in Africa. So I appreciate that challenge, and I recognize the truth in it. However, having said that, you don't get an idea funded. Just because you have a great idea and you think it's a great idea and you have possibly even put that idea onto a business plan, that doesn't get you funded. That doesn't secure you an investment or a business loan or any of that. So this is what I get a lot. I have this idea, look, I've researched it, and how can I get that funded, or how can I find investors? Well, the truth is, The majority of you won't, because investors don't invest into an idea or a business concept on paper. Very, very rare that ever happens. So let me give you a very practical example. What investors would invest in. I've met a Somali lady in Kenya, and I'm bringing her example because I think it really demonstrates what is attractive to investors. So she, for example, she visited a trade show in Nairobi, and she met those exhibitors that came from somewhere Northern Europe, Balkan states, and who were presenting organic fertilizers for agriculture. And so she loved the product and what it could do. And these fertilizers were very special because they came from the bottom of the lakes, and they were brought up all the way from the bottom of the lakes and turned into fertilizers. Now she actually tried out. I think she received like a little sample. She liked the product so much that, and yes, she borrowed some money from her family. She actually she traveled to those states in the Balkan to find out more about how they did it, how they extracted it, and so on. And she came back with a few samples, and she tried them out on with coffee farmers in Kenya, and she realized that they had like triple the yield within a year or something. And they could see first improvements after 6 months. And you just need a tiny amount of that. So then she asked for investors. She had it all analyzed locally and so on. Then she asked for investors, because she made a case. She had put a lot of her personal her time, her energy, she had put that in. She had made the journey. She has tried it out. And that's investable because she has a proven concept. But not only that, investors, they invest in people. And she has proved to them that she's a go-getter, that she has perseverance, that she's ready to sacrifice. And so after doing that for a year, she looked for investors, and she has a very strong case. So I hope that shows you what has to be done in order to become investable.
And finally, lesson number 5, which is hiring and partnering with the right people. When we start our businesses, we can't build them on our own, and we do need to partner with individuals or hire employees to help us build the business and take it to the next level. However, there do come certain challenges with that particular task of getting the right people in place. Tanya Reid and Sarah Collins provide more insight into what you need to look out for when hiring employees and partners for your business.
It's also really important, and this is a lesson that I'm learning, is to trust the people around you, to spend time and invest not just money, but time and passion into your team, because those are the people who are going to be with you through thick and thin. And I've learned the hard way. And I have rushed into hiring people and hiring for the wrong reasons. So if there's one piece of advice that I could give to an entrepreneur listening to us today is that take time to find the right people, and don't just because they impress you and they speak a language that you don't speak because they've got an MBA, think that they are going to fix your problems. Only you can fix your problems, and you know your business, but you need the team to be able to walk it with you and help you. There's never a perfect person, but there is a perfect team. But that team only comes together if you put real time into that team. And so that for me is my critical learning point, is to get the right people around you.
How did you go about making sure you had the right people in the right positions to help you grow as a business?
Initially, it was extremely difficult. You know, when you listen to the Richard Bransons of the world and they say to you, you're just as good as the team that you have. As a small business starting out and as an entrepreneur, it's very difficult to do what you need to do, grow your business, get the business in, and also source a good team. When you're starting out, you are the team. You're doing everything because you're that passionate about making it a success. What I found is I've tried to empower entrepreneurs in my business. It never worked. I tried to assist family and friends. It never worked. And as much as you want to make a difference in people's lives, the decision you have to make is a business one. Does this person fit in the culture of my business? As much as I want to help this person, is this person prepared to help me grow my business? Because there's so many people that pitch up for work, they earn their salary, and that's all that they want to do. To find someone that is as passionate about your business as what you are, that is the kind of person that you're looking for, irrespective of where they are. I've also found that trying to empower people that's been without work for a while was to my detriment. There's actually a reason why people are not employed within 6 months. And you think that you're assisting them, you think that you're giving them a step up so that they can start something, and it very, very rarely works. I've just found if you can connect with a person, if the person has the right attitude, if they're at work on time, if they're showing you that they want to be here, it's not just a job, those are the kind of people that you look for. And I have found them in restaurants as waiters. I found them in drive-thrus ordering McDonald's burgers. I have found people passionate about what they're doing, and that is the kind of people I headhunt.
Well, that does it for today's show, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot from the top 5 lessons shared by the previous guests on Business Mike. Just as a side note, I'd like to let you know that there's a platform I've started called Pod Africa. It's www.pod-africa.com. And what it is a collection of African podcasts on one platform. So if you enjoy the Business Mike podcast and want to listen to more podcasts just like this one or others of different genres, you can check it out at www.pod-africa.com. Thanks again for listening, and until next Monday, take care.